Bonsoir, it's Duck here again. Another map, sort of little quick video here. I'm not shoveling snow, so I'm gonna go back out. I'm just taking 5 here. Not much snow, not the big storm everybody predicted, but I'm used to that. But I get some exercise, shoveling some snow, then go for a walk later. But here we are, United States. We build all kinds of weapons and supplies and bombs and bullets and all kinds of war materials out here in the United States up here, and then we truck it to New York or we ship it by train. That's why Warren Buffett has a train system now here in the United States, because these wars are going to last for a long time. He knows. He's got an inside person there giving him the lowdown. And here we are, United States. We come across, we go to the Straits of Gibraltar, through the Mediterranean, down through the Suez Canal. Now, no one is mentioning the Suez Canal again today, or the city of Suez. All the action seems to be in Cairo, which everybody knows it's not. The action's in Suez, at Suez City. And down here we come around the Red Sea up to the Arabian Gulf, almost by the Persian Gulf, and we deliver our supplies here, war materials, in Pakistan. And they make their way up to Afghanistan if they don't get blown up. And there we kill a bunch of Muslims, and then we come back to Pakistan and kill a bunch of Muslims. And we're probably killing Muslims all over this area here. Now this is of course China. But all these little countries bordering China are basically all Muslim. Up here, Turkey, Georgia, Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Bulgaria, Latvia, Bosnia, Estonia. These are all Muslim nations here. Of course, Africa, the whole nation, except for maybe South Africa, is Muslim. Then we have over here, we have South America, which may not, they're like Catholic, but they're very sympathetic to the Muslim need up here, because they have had the same colonialism forced down their throat, where these areas are very fertile and prosperous as far as minerals and things. They should be able to feed these populations no problem. And the same with Africa here. This is the breadbasket of the world, the most fertile soil ever, anywhere. It could grow just so much food they could feed the whole world here easily, but the people are starving, and that's because this colonialism shit that we forced down their throat. You know, that would be the Americans and the up here the Europeans. And look, I'm not for one person or against one person one way or the other. This is just the facts, okay? Now I'm going to go to bear with me because I'm trying to hold my camera and do this at the same time. I'm going to go map to the political map of the Middle East. Okay. So we have of course the Suez Canal here. And look at this. This is now Iran really doesn't have a great way to get their oil products out, because we control the Suez Canal, and I'm kind of wondering, do any Iranian boats actually get to offload or go through this canal, or are they forced to go through the Caspian Sea and go up to some type of pipeline up in here? But Iran, you know, they're not doing great because they're not allowed to ship their oil out as much as they would like to. They would like to increase production here and make more money, of course. But Iran is feeding the people in these depressed areas now, and they're not talking about that. A couple days ago it was, there's no food, they're running out of food. As soon as there's no food, they'll get off the street. Well, now we had a huge march. There's more people on the street, and that's because they're getting the food from the Muslim Brotherhood, which nobody wants to hear that. To our mainstream media, that's a tactic. Well, it just makes sense. You give them food, and the people, you know, they're going to back you. Food's very important. Of course, we have the Israeli oil rig here in disputed waters, and they're being accused of drilling sideways into Lebanese waters, and the Palestinians want a piece of this. It's going to be a big issue. Of course, you don't hear anything about that. But the real news you don't hear anything about. And we're having problems in Saudi Arabia. We're having problems in Turkey. They're not going to talk about that. These are two puppet regimes that we've set up for years and years and years and years. And they're having the same problems. The rich people are extremely, extremely rich. And the poor people are eating dirt and shit off the ground if they're lucky. If they can get some clean dirt or some clean shit to eat, they're lucky. Everything's just really screwed here. And it's because what happens is Americans bring all this money in, we dump it in the country, and mostly it goes for military. In the military, it just goes to keep the people down, or to keep the regime in power that's keeping the people down. But the military will normally be made up of younger troops out of impoverished areas, and these troops are more likely to back the people, thus what is happening here in Egypt. But this Suez Canal is vital to our war machine, and every time the Muslims see a doggone one gigantic, I mean these ships are gigantic, warship go through here, and these guys are working in their fields and they're off in the distance and they're the better ones, and they know what's going to happen here, that these ships are going down here and going to make it over here to the Persian Gulf eventually, the Gulf of Oman, and they're going to deliver supplies that's going to kill more Muslims. And as I said before, there's a lot of tribal conflict here, but this is going to be put aside. This tribal conflicts that have been going on for centuries are going to be put aside, and this Muslim Brotherhood will unite here. This whole area, is North Africa, the Indonesia, the whole area is well, they're uniting right now. And this whole area, man, Africa, Indonesia, parts of Northern Europe, and like Eastern Russian nations that used to be Russia, Spain, Morocco, Spain, Morocco, yeah, hell, lots of South America. These are going to be very sympathetic to these people. When the major problem with this is the IMF and the colonialism that's been going on for years, and I believe that they're just going to tell the banks to get fucked, and that'll be the best thing that could happen, and that's going to happen soon. I'm gonna predict that the Suez Canal will be closed down and will be restricted. American ships will not be allowed here, and eventually they won't be allowed through the Straits of Gibraltar either. They're tired of the war. They want the Americans to go home. They're going to choke us off, and there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, one more thing. The Houston Chronicle, where are you at? Texas sucks, but here we go. Texans encouraged to conserve as rolling blackouts continue. Updated. The Texans are using too much electricity down there because it got a little bit cold, and they had rolling blackouts, and I suppose the rolling blackouts are going to continue. And that's pretty weird. Texas, they just last summer they were bragging about how they had so much power on their power grid they actually exported power to 4 other states. Now they can't supply power for their own people, but Texas is also $18 billion in the red, in the deficit they have to make up somehow, and there's a lot of problems down there. A friend of mine's friend just lost his job at this welding shipyard down there as a welder, and it was one of the largest shipyards in the United States, and they laid off everybody. Everything's gone. It's not even there anymore. Just gone. 50,000 people at least got lost jobs down there, and it's going to start getting bad everywhere else, just like it is here in Michigan. But I'm going to post this and hope this works out okay. This is Duck out.